Yo, what's good? It is your boy Mal back at it with another episode of Behind the Panels. This one, dope episode. We got Alex Schumacher here talking about his project, Schticks and Stones. It's hilarious. It's dope. Actually, it just wrapped up on Kickstarter. It met its goal. So if you ain't jump on it, see if y'all can get that ASAP. Pause. But yeah, once again, make sure y'all check out the website, villainarchives.com. And if y'all ain't following, you're missing out. The Kickstarter for Chaos Theory Issue 3 actually launched today. So make sure y'all check on that. Links is going to be all over the place. But on that note, man, once again, like and subscribe to the channel. But let's get this episode on the ball. What's going on? What's going on, folks? Once again, it is your boy, man, with another episode of Behind the Panels. Today, we got a very interesting story. We have Alex Schumacher with us today. He actually has a very interesting story. It's called Schticks and Stones. It's on Kickstarter. It already surpassed its goal. So this is coming, folks. And yeah, we got him with us today so we could dig into the story and have some laughs, you know what I'm saying? But before we get into any details, man, for those of you who don't know you, Alex, just give them a brief introduction and what got you into creating comics as well.
Yeah, for sure. First off, thanks for having me on. We really appreciate it. Aaron had a prior engagement, but he wanted me to let you know that he appreciates you giving us this time too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I am a cartoonist who's been around sort of in earnest since about 2015. I started doing a couple of web comics that got a very small audience, but enough to kind of keep me going, and then sort of graduated to comic books and graphic novels. And at the time, I mean, still, the sort of hot market is kid lit. And, it's the middle grade, it's the young, early readers books. So I got a literary agent and started, writing for that demographic. So I've been doing sort of more all ages stuff. Had a book come out in 2024, a middle grade book that got some nice recognition called The Effects of Pickled Aaron. And that was kind of about a Jewish family as well. So when Aaron approached me to do the first story in this series, which we'll talk about too, it felt kind of like a very natural progression for me because, that was already kind of the mode I had been in. So it just felt like a logical next step for me.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
And what got me into creating, I guess, was the other question, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, I can tend to ramble. So what got me into creating, I think, was just sort of an abundance of stimulus to some degree. When I was a kid, I grew up in the time, we might be of a similar generation where, we grew up with Saturday morning cartoons. And
miss those.
And Don Bluth films and Disney films and the animated holiday specials like the Looney Tunes stuff and Peanuts and they all, and Saturday morning cartoons would all have their own holiday theme stuff. So that was a big inspiration for both Aaron and I as well. But the thing that first got me into it, into the comics form in particular, was comic strips. I was given this big, the coffee table books. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
So it was one of those formats, and it was the Smithsonian collection of newspaper comics. So it kind of ran the history of comic strips at that time, and that just sucked me right in, and I loved the way that the sort of characters were built, and it felt very immediate, and I remember it, getting its teeth in very early. So that was kind of the first thing, and that's what I tried to do early on as well. Before I got back into comic books, was I really wanted to be a syndicated cartoonist. So that was, and then we had like Bill Watterson who did Calvin and Hobbes, and we had Doonesbury and Bloom County and the Farce.
I remember the Boondocks. I love the Boondocks.
Yeah.
Oh man,
we had this abundance of wealth when it came to really good comic strips available at the time. So those, and through the collection, I also found cartoonists who inspired those cartoonists, like Walt Kelly, who did Pogo. So it was just kind of tracing the lineage of, my own comics DNA. But that was really, I still have that book to this day.
Nice, nice. So what inspired this story and then a holiday special at that? Because I was looking at the Kickstarter. I'm like, holiday special.
Yeah.
It's we're in the springtime. I definitely got to find out about this. So why make it a holiday special as well?
Well, I think the impetus behind that was just to throw the audience in to the craziness. I mean, what
Hmm.
better way to get to know characters than to just throw them in at their utmost insane, or inane at some points. But this was a story. The genesis was Aaron Cohen, co-creator and writer,
Yeah.
is a student of Scott Snyder's. And so there is a anthology called The Cloakroom that
Hmm.
features students of Scott Snyder. And Aaron had a story that was up to be published in there, which was the first story in this collection, Crime and
Okay.
Passover. And a mutual friend introduced us named Tony Wolf, fantastic cartoonist as well. And he said, "Hey, I knew another Jew." No, he he said, I think you're like humor. I know your humor and your sensibilities kind of align, and like I think you guys would get along either way. So as soon as I read those pages from Aaron, it immediately struck me that these were people that I know, and these were people
Hmm.
that I grew up with, and they felt just very familiar to me, and I could name people in my synagogue who these people reminded me of, and the world for me felt very lived in and was very
Yeah.
vivid, even in those beginning stages of kind of building out those characters. Um, so I saw that as an opportunity to help Aaron bring these stories to life, and like I said, kind of carry on in a way that I had been, where it's about kind of expressing and accentuating Jewish joy, because
Hmm.
there's, I mean, if we're being frank, there's not a ton of that we see these days. It's a bit of a fraught time, and for some good
Yeah. You're
reason.
right.
At the same time, there's still a lot of joy and a lot of love in the community, and so that's what we're trying to
Mhm.
play up. So
Oh yeah.
the holiday special. So there's kind of two parts to it, because like it's some real chutzpah to be like, the first thing we're going to give you is a holiday special, because most
Yeah.
properties have to work up to that, right?
Exactly. That's why when I came across the Kickstarter, I was like, "Oh, so we're starting off like in the middle." He's talking about holiday
Yeah.
special. Like, okay,
I mean,
okay. So I'm definitely
that's what we're
interested.
always aiming, just like straight to the middle. That's
Yeah.
always the goal. As long as you stay there, you're safe. Um, so yeah, it was the idea behind that was kind of,
Hmm.
like I said, we were
Hmm.
both influenced a lot, and have very fond associations with a lot of those animated holiday specials as a kid. The Simpsons and Looney Tunes and all of
Yeah.
them. And so this was our way of putting a Jewish version of that out a little bit,
Hmm.
because a handful of movies about Hanukkah have been made, and only one or two of those were animated. So
Yeah.
for us, it was bringing something into the world that we wanted to see. Aaron likes to say, like, that's where that came from him. Um, it was, he just wanted to put something into the world that he would have loved to have seen as a kid, and that struck me. That was something that I obviously connected with, and
Hmm.
resonated with me. So yeah, but we were just both crazy enough to agree to have it be a holiday special, first time out, feet to the fire. That's how you're going
Yeah.
to get people, because in a lot of ways, these big boisterous, full on loving, but maybe sometimes a little bit too much. Families. That's kind of the only real way, like I said, to get to know them. That's the only point of ingress, where you're
Yeah.
really going to go away knowing these characters, and then we can, because there's a bunch of them. We created this whole, like, rogues gallery of family members, and maybe that's the wrong way to say it, because I think that commonly refers to villains, but in a sense that makes
Hey,
sense
hey,
too. It
listen.
makes sense too,
My
because there's
family
this.
is definitely a
Yeah,
bunch
yeah,
of villains. My
yeah, for
family.
sure, and like in an endearing way. Um,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
so we've created all these characters where, once you know them, once you like, once you are, again, kind of put through the grinder with them,
Yeah.
we can take them all, separately, or pair them off, or whatever it is, and tell
Hmm.
other stories with them, because now there's, not a lot of explaining that needs to be done, other than, like, what this character is thinking now, because you saw them in Schticks and Stones, in the Purim story,
Yeah.
in the Passover story. So
And
that.
the artwork is beautiful too, by the way.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
I was, scrolling through the images on Kickstarter trying to get a feel of the story, and the artwork is intense. Like I really love it. Like I could see this as an animated show somewhere on the streaming platform or somewhere. It looks great. It
Thanks, man.
absolutely looks
Yeah,
great. Like the artwork definitely, I could see the comic strip vibe
yeah,
in there.
yeah.
I could now that you mention it, I definitely see that more. It grabbed my attention right away. I was like, okay, I like this. I like this. I definitely liked it, man. And like I said, congratulations once again. It looks like y'all doubled already past your original, and you still got what, less than 2 weeks to go.
Thanks
So
something
you
like.
guys are definitely killing it, man. Congratulations on that.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
thank you so much.
Hmm.
And of
Yeah,
course,
definitely.
oh sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying, like, man, like it's a pleasure, man. It looks like a great story, and I can't wait to dig into it myself.
Thank you. Yeah, and so for the art, I was just going to say I obviously have to give credit to our colorist Ralph Singh because creating sort of the warm and inviting
Yeah.
tones, a lot of that was in the colors, and that was the atmosphere we really wanted to strike. Because, like I said,
Hmm.
I think sometimes when there's anything that is kind of Jew adjacent these days, it can cause some people to pause. So,
Yeah, you're right.
so
Hmm.
again, what we're trying to do is really just say, hey, look, this isn't about any of that. This is about
Hmm.
big families, immigrant families, being a tween and not really knowing where you belong in the world and trying to find your place.
Hmm.
It's about all of those things. And
Yeah.
the Judaism for us is important for the representation, but at the same time, that's more our heritage and our culture, and
Yeah.
so it's told through that prism because that's the prism, that's the
Hmm.
perspective that we have, but it's not to be exclusive or to be
Yeah.
intimidating in any way, where because it's all just fun family mysteries is really what it is.
Hmm.
And so we utilize the Jewish holidays and kind of tie them in to the mysteries themselves, but it really is, we're trying to make it as relatable and
Hmm.
open as possible. So I appreciate you saying that, but yeah, a lot of that goes to Ralph too, I think. Well, I
Oh
know.
yeah, no, you gotta definitely got a great team, and like especially holiday special. I mean, what time is it the most chaotic, especially with
Yeah,
families? Is right around the holidays. You definitely get to to know people
yeah,
more come holiday season.
yeah.
You know, people are anxious. Tensions get high, especially when it comes to like the family gatherings. I haven't seen this
Yeah.
person in that long, and what
Maybe
is
the
this
bottle
person
starts
gonna
getting
say?
passed around, and then
Yeah,
lips become a little more free.
yep. Once the little sauce starts going around the table, and those that like to you know choke a little bit, get a little mellowed out, and now you may have some shit going on.
Adam Sandler rhymed use marijuana into his Hanukkah song, so I think that makes it canon for us.
Oh, hey,
Right? That makes this official. Um,
absolutely.
but that's totally what it is, and
Hmm.
that's anybody. That's not just
Hmm.
Jews, and of course,
Yeah.
they're probably passing around the bottle of Manischewitz or whatever. Maybe another
Oh yeah,
family. Yeah,
we got the bottle of Henny going
there
around in
you go.
my
Whatever
in
it is,
my house.
that's an all-purpose bottle in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, and then things
yeah,
just get crazy from there.
right. And then you can see what people are thinking, and that's
Oh
when
yeah.
things become really
Hmm.
interesting. And so that's a lot of what's behind, I think, uh,
Hmm.
Aaron coming up with these stories is it's. I mean, number one, again, it's this kid who's trying to find his place in the family, but also trying to find his place in the world. He's full of creativity, as we'll see in these stories, because he's contriving of these
Hmm.
Scooby Doo a la
Yeah.
Mel Brooks mysteries with his family, and it's essentially to entertain himself at these sort of buttoned up family
Yeah.
gatherings. Because a lot of the times, like Aaron likes to say, he had to put on the itchy pants and go spend a couple hours with these people, but that's what it is for a lot of people. So
Oh yeah. Oh
when we
yeah.
boil
Especially when you're young.
yeah. So when we start, really just focusing, I mean, the humor is a big part for us too. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
humor is a large part of Jewish history as well.
Yeah.
But the humor is really important for us because we just find that to be something that is also kind of inviting and warm, to a
Mm-hmm.
degree. I mean, it could also be biting and incisive, but we're using it hopefully in a way
Yeah.
that is like welcoming people in. And so yeah, it's a matter of kind of striking the right tones, finding the right team, and I think we've done that pretty well with this. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. Definitely. So
yeah,
far, from what I see, you guys are you guys are definitely on the right track. The train is definitely moving. Great artwork. From what you're explaining, the story is great. Kickstarter says it for itself. You know, you already got a nice little fan base going. Clearly,
yeah, we're
you know.
thankful for it all. We don't take that for granted at all. It was, I mean, the first day funding too, and I talk about it, and it sounds like a humble brag, but it's really just out of sheer sort of
Yeah.
shock. I think I'm still in shock about it because
Hey,
this is our first
take the
solo
win, man.
Kickstarter. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we've been part of other ones like the Cloakroom, but this is our
Yeah.
first solo one. So that was definitely not what we expected. And then we got the project we love from Kickstarter. So yeah, I would say it's going
Nice.
okay for us, which is nice. Because it could have been a lot
That's
worse.
what's
And
up.
believe me, in my head, it was a lot worse.
Oh yeah, I my Kickstarter comes out in a couple of weeks, and I'm still like, oh my god, is it gonna work? Is it like, am I gonna get any backers? Like, I've never done a Kickstarter. I've always went straight to, I went straight to consumer.
Mhm.
On the I have my website. Cons. I sold a lot on the buy and sell groups. I worked with I partnered with a lot of groups themselves and had exclusives. So I kind of went that direction. So
Yeah, yeah,
this time around, I'm trying something different. I mean, my stuff is already done. Kickstarter is really just for printing costs at this point. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? I like to have things done first.
yeah,
I don't like you hear all these crazy stories. Oh, I backed it like 10 years ago and I still ain't get the comic
yeah.
book yet. Like,
You know,
but that's a whole
terrific
other
outcome, man.
crazy story in itself. But as far I want to get back to your story. Who are let's talk about the characters
Yeah.
and what makes them stand out.
Sure. So the main character, the sort of narrator, the tween that I've mentioned is Ben.
Hmm.
Ben Fineman.
Hmm.
So the family
Okay.
is the Finemans. Um, and he's this, we call him sort of a mix between, what did, I said he's like a little mini Bugsy Siegel. And I think Aaron
Nice.
says he's like a mix.
Little gangster,
Between,
huh?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's how he sees himself anyway. Um, so, but I think Aaron likes to say he's Bugsy Siegel mixed with Columbo because there's the
Oh,
mystery detective aspect too. So
okay.
fair,
That's a big mix right there. Bugsy Siegel and Columbo.
um, and so Aaron had the idea for that character Ben, and then sort of
Hmm.
talked a little bit about his personality. And so in my mind, I saw him with this, which you can see in Crime and Passover if people visit the Kickstarter page. I drew him in this
Hmm.
gigantically oversized suit because the suit that he probably wanted was in like a secondhand shop, probably isn't
Hmm.
made for a tween, but it looks gangster. And so
Yeah.
that's what he was. So he's wearing this suit that's probably 5 times too big for him, but he's doing it unabashedly because he knows like that's what he's pulling off or trying to pull off.
Yeah.
So there's some like I always say he has a mix of like bravado and Jewish guilt at all times. Um, so any expression you see is kind of like that. But he's sort of the heart of the story. He's the
Hmm.
narrator. He's sort of an unreliable narrator, which is fun to play with. But that's Ben. Mark is his cousin, so he was the antagonist of sorts in Crime and Passover, though that can be argued otherwise. But I don't want to spoil anything right now. But he's this just laid back, this sort of hippie-ish, Zen, go with the flow
Hmm.
guy, and it kind of ticks Mark off because Mark also kind of gets what he wants because of that, and it's something that he doesn't even necessarily need or seek. But
Yeah.
Ben, there's a little bit of jealousy, I think, on Ben's part. But Mark is totally just go with the flow, buddy. Super zen, and so he is accused of stealing the Afikomen in Crime and
Mm-hmm.
Passover, which is a piece of matzah that gets hidden, and the younger kids find it and win a prize. And so
Okay.
Ben is theorizing that Mark's been stealing money from the family all these years by doing that. And then they become friends, and they're actually teamed up when we do the Hanukkah story. So that one, because the Crime Passover one utilizes the Afikomen and like different aspects of
Mm-hmm.
the tradition,
Yeah.
the rituals that we have. There is, I don't want to spoil it, but there is a double page spread that happens on a panel made of matzah. So
Mm-hmm.
that happened in that story, which was kind of wild to work on, but a lot of fun. So we're just a lot of the iconography, a lot of the feelings behind them, the teachings behind them, and not in like trying to be educational way, but just
Yeah.
sort of folded into everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, so for Passover that's kind of what we use, and then for Hanukkah it's called Eight, and it's a play on the movie Seven because Hanukkah has
Mm-hmm.
8 days, and the way
I
Aaron
love that movie Seven.
Oh, I know. So ours is a little more family friendly. And so it's an 8 page story, and each page is kind of a night of Hanukkah, which will be
Mm.
very fun. Hopefully, people will find it very fun, but it's a clever device. So I'm excited to get that going. And then Purim, it's kind of like Jewish Halloween. So there's a lot of costumes.
Yeah.
There's revelry. There's sketches that people put on. It's this whole thing. So you've already got the mystery kind of built in there because people are masked, and who are these people? Who they say they are? Are they capable of doing these terrible, all ages, family friendly crimes that they're accused of doing? So yeah, we're really, and you don't need to be part of the tribe to enjoy them, or hopefully you don't have to, because we're making. I think that when you do broad humor and you do it right,
Yeah.
it's
It works.
yeah, it works, and it
Mm-hmm.
connects you to people, and so it
Mm-hmm.
kind of it's the sort of fabric that we want, running
Yeah.
through our books more than anything else, at least for me. And so that's kind of also you asked me earlier about kind of the art style, and I just kind of started letting my like cartoonish fandom
Mm-hmm.
street flag fly, and that's really what
Yeah.
happened. And so it came out in a way that sort of pays tribute to comic strips and Saturday
Mm-hmm.
morning cartoons, and
Yeah. I
Looney
definitely got that
Tunes,
vibe. I,
Mad Magazine, all of that. But we
yeah,
also,
I definitely got that vibe off of that. And
cool,
it's
cool.
you nailed it. You definitely nailed it.
Well, thanks,
Definitely
man.
nailed it.
And these were things that I sort of was, I don't know if afraid is the right word, but tried to rein in a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
And Crime and Passover was the first story where I really used that and kind of just
Okay.
let go and let God put it in Hashem's hands, see what happens.
Nice.
Um,
I mean, it seems like this was like a great project to work on. What would you say was the most fun you've had creating this story?
I mean, the cliche story is like every story is fun, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I think putting the characters in different situations and
Mm-hmm.
letting them react to what's happening around them is some of the most fun, because you kind of realize how well you know those characters when you're doing that. And
Yeah.
so Aaron and I have kind of developed this shorthand, and along with Ralph as well, obviously, where it's not a lot where we have to explain to each other, and we can kind of just kick things back and forth, and we're all kind of committed to this idea that the best idea is the one that wins, because that
Yeah.
ultimately we're trying to make the best book that we can. So I think that like watching those characters grow, even in like subtle or subconscious ways, with us,
Mm-hmm.
because we've changed too, and we see things
Yeah.
from a different perspective. So the characters kind of come along with that too. So I think that's some of the most, aside from actually designing the characters, which was just an absolute blast, and I got to, riff off of like Curb Your Enthusiasm characters and our
Love
own.
that show too. We got a lot in common. I'm so trying to say you
Yeah,
and I got a lot of. I
yeah.
love that show, and I found that show by mistake. I had nothing to watch one night.
Oh, that's funny,
I'm
man.
like, I keep seeing this thing. Well, let me see what this is about. Then I realized Jason Bateman was in it. He's pretty funny. I like him. He's a weirdly funny person. You
He
know what I'm
is.
saying? Like
Yeah.
he could be very he could be very dramatic and he could be very funny, but it's always like the same expression. I
Right.
love him. He's great,
Nailed
and
it.
that show was awesome. That
Yeah.
show was so awesome. It
So,
was an
so
unexpected treat.
there's that.
Definitely was.
Yeah. And then, but yeah, so that was like the fun part. Aside
Hmm.
from designing them, was seeing, letting them grow and kind of,
Yeah.
as my friend Francis Lombard likes to say, putting them in trees and throwing stones
Mhm.
at them and seeing how they react, which I think is what we
Yeah,
do.
I think that's to me as a creator myself. I think that's one of the I think it's one of the best parts of creating a story is you taking your characters and just throwing shit at them and seeing what could really work
Yeah,
and building them. Especially you go issue 1, 2, 3, you're like 10 issues down, and then you look back and you can see how these characters grew over time, over
yeah,
these issues and things like that. And I think that's great, man, especially if you start like kind of expanding on them and things like that. But seeing something you've made grow, it's like making a child, you know.
yeah.
You see it develop, and they start taking these personalities and handling these situations,
Mhm.
and how they go about it. Man, I think that's great. That's one of the best parts I love about creating. You could just have fun with it too, whether it's a comedy, a drama, or a horror comic. Just taking those characters and just building on them and
Yeah,
giving them life. You know what I'm saying? Giving
yeah.
them life.
And so
I think that's great.
I guess the two aren't necessarily like mutually exclusive, right? Because designing them and then kind of seeing them through to this stage
Hmm.
are all sort of part of the same spectrum or journey for these characters, I think.
Yeah.
So that's not
Hmm.
necessarily unrelated, but for me, yeah, that's been one of the most fun things. And because when you're working on those two, when you're really grinding them down to their core, what you're finding is the humanity in them,
Hmm.
which is what people relate
Yeah.
to. In the best superhero stories, the best sci-fi stories, the best horror stories, what you're relating to is not the monster, the alien, the superhero. It's the humanity behind it. It's
Hmm.
the emotions and experiences that we all have. So when you can find that
Yeah.
and put that in this sort of window dressing of whatever world you want to, you're going to do something that's at least decent. So
Oh
hopefully we've
yeah.
done something that's decent with this.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Especially, when the reader connects to a character,
Yeah,
something like that, and they could definitely feel them, and that's a cool thing too. And when they connect to your characters like that, man. Like,
yeah.
so with this story, is this gonna you're gonna have multiple issues? Are we building something bigger here, or this is just gonna be a separate thing in its own?
No, I think the idea is to build something bigger, and this is sort of our proof of concept. So,
Nice.
um,
So
you
what do you have planned for bigger?
I mean, honestly, just more stories in different formats,
Okay. Mhm.
in with the different characters again too. So we're
Mhm.
going to be able to use that huge array of our cast to be able to do that.
Mhm.
But I'm not, we don't have necessarily like a timeline, but that's definitely what this was supposed to be an avenue for. See if people would be interested in reading these stories, if they connect to them, if they
Mhm.
can get past certain aspects, perhaps, to just, find the joy and the relatability and the family humor that
Oh, it looks like we
they've experienced
froze.
too. So that I think you can say that sure funding already and still building a bit should be the proof, right? Like that should be enough to tell me that we should keep going. And I think it
Oh
is.
yeah.
I think it is, but uh, I'm always sort of paranoid about my own about any attention that
Mhm.
something that I'm doing gets. So uh, I sort of it's not a prepare for the worst situation because I'm very thankful, and now I'm rambling again. But
Looks like connection
but
is
yeah,
slowing up a
I
bit.
think just keeping it at that sort of core is where you really connect with the audience and find the characters. It's all to say that, I guess.
Hey, you still there? Sorry, something weird
Yeah,
happened with the
no, it's all good. I was
everything.
just because like I was just going on as I do, and then I see your face had been the same for about a minute, and I wasn't sure if I had given you a stroke or
No,
Like
I don't know. There's been something weird going on around here lately. I think with the internet and it
got
kind of
it.
froze off. But yeah. So what were you saying before we got cut off? I heard you talking about the Kickstarter campaign a bit before we kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was just talking about. I think I was just talking about the creation of the characters. We were still talking about that a little
Hmm.
bit. I honestly don't remember. You could probably start with it. I mean, imagine you edit this.
Oh, oh yeah.
So I mean, yeah, if you want
Absolutely.
to start, I think I finished, so maybe it still said recording, so maybe
Yeah, maybe it'll come up. Maybe it'll come
uh,
up. Because one thing I
just
like about this app, this program that I'm using, um, if like let's say like you start buffering a little bit, it's still
mm,
gonna upload what you're recording, and I'll still see how it looks in the
okay,
final end. So it's cool. I kind of like it. Some like Zoom was like if you lose connection, you kind of screwed on that, but this
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of kept going. So that's probably why they charge me so much every month. But
Oh, it
but
sounds like
I
it's
do want to talk about the Kickstarter because
yeah,
like I
yeah.
said, you guys you blew it out the water. How was the marketing behind that in the very beginning? And was this like your first Kickstarter campaign, or you've kind of done these before and you're already used to the process?
Well, we were freelancers on other
Mm-hmm.
Kickstarters, so we didn't really
Mm-hmm.
have to deal with the sort of,
Mm-hmm.
administrative, all of the administrative stuff
Yeah,
that
yeah.
we had no clue was part of it until we did this one.
Oh yeah, it's a
So
pain in the
this was,
ass.
yeah, so this was our first one, but we are big believers in asking for help. So we did bring in some outside assistance. Our buddy Joey Galvez is a production artist and our page manager, basically. So he built that out for us. He helped us sort of devise our rewards tiers, told us things that maybe work better than others because we had a ton of ideas, but these are also ideas by people who are doing Kickstarter for the first time. So we need somebody to be like, actually, that's dumb. So thankfully, Joey was that guy. He's far nicer about it, but that's essentially the gist of that those interactions, which is fine because we're greenhorns, man. Like we don't know
Yeah,
what the
yeah.
hell.
Yeah, like I
Uh,
said, this is my first Kickstarter
yeah,
and just putting everything together, I'm like, why does this seem more complicated
oh, it's
than
so
I thought it
complicated.
was? Like, what should I offer? Like, oh my god, I
I
kind of want
know.
everyone to buy this. So do I
Yeah.
offer a lot of things? Like, oh man, like I'm just
What's
started
the
throwing everything
line?
out there. Like,
Yeah. Where do you pull back? Yeah. So thankfully Joey was kind of our Sherpa in those regards, where
hmm
he helped us manage all of that, and he also actually maybe I don't know if it was him, but somebody gave us the advice to pre-launch a month at least in advance
yeah,
when the
yeah, I've
Kickstarter
gotten that
launches.
that
Yeah,
that too.
so we
Yeah,
did that, and it seemed to be a decent amount of time to allow us to sort of get the word around by digital word of mouth, I guess. On
yeah.
social media. That's what it is now. You have to be on there.
Oh
All the
yeah.
kids are doing
You got to
it.
be on all of them
Uh,
now. You
you got to
got
be
to
on all
do
of them, right?
you got to do the TikToks and
I
you
know.
got to do it for the
Wow.
gram. I'm mentally exhausted.
Yeah,
To
it
be
is
honest with all
exhausting.
the yeah, like I'm just sitting here sometimes like a couple of nights ago, I'm like, you know what? I got to make some content. Let me throw up this video for TikTok. So I'm recording
Yeah,
it. I'm on my phone, and first of all, I was stoned out of my face. That's kind of where the idea came from. So like, let me just make some content, and I
yeah,
was already tired. So then
yeah,
I'm playing the video back. I'm like, I can't post that. Like, where are my eyes?
yeah.
Like, holy crap! I'm thinking like, oh, check out the new blah blah blah, and I look back and I'm just like, hey, check out the.
Right.
It's
Survives,
just too
man.
much. It's too much. You got Facebook and then you got
Yeah,
Instagram and then TikTok's a whole other platform. You got to shoot videos
yeah.
or make pictures with music. Like it's just a lot. It's
I
just a
haven't,
lot nowadays.
I haven't even touched TikTok, man. I feel like I would be so the old man in the club. You know what I mean? Like I would be the old guy in the back that everybody's like, "This creep, really?" So
That's
that
how I feel on TikTok.
I'm
To
right.
be
That's what
honest.
I'm saying. Is like I don't think I'm alone in that. I think
Hmm.
our generation or
Yeah,
it feels a
I
little bit
feel
because
like
for the kids, right? Like Wu Tang
yeah.
used to be, and now TikTok is for the kids, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like every time I make a post, like I feel like I'm in my 80s. You know what I'm saying? Like I shouldn't be on here. Like what am I doing? I'm
Like
trying to make
somebody's
these
listening to your
videos.
outgoing message, and it's like, "Hey Ethel, is the red light on? Is it working? When do I need to beep?" And that's your outgoing message. That's how it feels on
Yeah.
TikTok.
That's just how and it's just exhausting, especially when you're trying to promote a project. You want to make sure like you kind of get it everywhere, and it's just like I guess this is why people get paid good money to do this because it's just
No,
you have
absolutely.
to keep track of this, and 'cause if you want to be successful, have a successful project, you kind of got to be all over the place. You got to be the puppet for a little while, and just hey, look at me, buy
Yeah,
my thing, you know.
but it's not even just the arts. I mean, it's ubiquitous at this point. Like big, companies, law firms, finance companies, they all have social media managers.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
yeah.
just the world we live in now. So, yeah,
Mhm.
the people who can do it, who are sort of more skilled or learned in the ways of
Mhm.
Kickstarters, we definitely reached out to a few of them because it's
It's a
overwhelming.
lot to take on. Yeah, yeah. It's a
So
lot of
we're
work.
very grateful to
Mhm.
him.
That's.
And
I
then
mean,
just
he did a great job.
yeah, no, the
He
page looks
definitely did a great
amazing.
job.
That's not conceited to say because I didn't have a hand at all in doing it. So no, he did great, and he was very good about checking in
Mhm.
with Aaron and I, and asking, does this look good? Is this how you would want it? Is there any copy
Mhm.
that you want? So he made it very collaborative too, which I think is one of the reasons that Aaron and I were interested to work with him and have enjoyed the process of working with him because he very much lives in the spirit of collaboration like we do.
Yeah, and I'm actually scrolling through it right now. Like I see some of the different covers you have, different
Hmm.
variants.
Hmm.
Amazing. Amazing. I like that art print. I'm definitely gonna grab that art print. I'm a sucker for prints. I've got more
Oh yeah,
prints than I've got wall space. You know
yeah,
what
yeah.
I'm saying? Like
We
I
might have
love
another
prints.
one coming, perhaps. But yeah, for now we have the amazing Mike Kunkel's
Yeah. Hmm.
variant cover and art print. And people, if you don't know who he is, he created Hero Bear and the Kid back in the day, where both Aaron and I are big fans of his from when he started
Hmm.
Astonish Factory, or Astonish Inc. He's gonna kill me. I don't remember. Um, but and he's done things with DC and just everybody. He's doing, Billy Bastion and the Magic of Shazam, I think, is one of his more current ones.
Hmm.
And he so graciously agreed to do a variant cover for us, and then whipped up an additional print just out
Nice,
of the goodness of
nice.
his heart.
I like that Akira variant too.
Yeah. So that's Ralph. Ralph, our colorist, also is an artist in his own right. So
Yeah,
he
I love homage covers too.
Yeah, so he put the colors on the cover A that I drew,
Mm,
which he nailed as well, and then that's his cover he did from top to bottom. That's all
yeah,
him.
it's nice. I love homage cover. I'm a sucker for homage covers. I got into them when Marvel was doing the hip hop variants because
Oh
I'm a
yeah,
hip hop freak. I had about 98% of them. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
But I'm also a movie head as well. So I
yeah,
like to do for my personal projects. I like to make movie cover variants because I love movies.
yeah,
I've
yeah.
done Belly, I've done Juice. All
Nice.
hip hop themed. Well, kind of whatever the story is. Like I got one
Yeah, yeah.
one series that's really street and hood. So I kind of I go with Juice and Belly and Paid in Full. But then I
Sure.
got my stoner comic where I try to stick to like the stoner movies and things like that. So yeah, I
Yeah,
love variants. I'm a sucker for variants.
yeah. And well, like you were saying, I mean, you said it very clearly. Comics collectors are nothing if not completists.
Hmm.
So they love if there's an art print out there that they can get for a certain project, if there's a certain, knick-knack, tchotchke, whatever it is,
Yeah,
the Kickstarter is kind of a perfect marriage between that fandom and the sort of creators,
yeah,
and because they can offer all of that, and if you're worried about missing something on a series or a project, you don't have to, and so I think that's a huge benefit of being on something like Kickstarter because it allows that sort of natural relationship
yeah.
to being its own habitat in a way.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Now, when you was when you were working on the project, you know, any we spoke about the good. Was there any bad, any issues putting the project together? I mean, I know I've had tons of headache working on projects. Like any issues you had putting this together or anything like that?
I mean, I think the biggest thing for us was the actual building of the campaign, and
Okay.
that was just born of ignorance on
Yeah.
our part in a lot of ways, because we thought we would go in there and we we kind of had talked about it. We had these ideas. I honestly went in thinking we weren't going to be as involved. I think Aaron had that idea as well,
Hmm.
because we brought other people in and we're like, they take care of this.
Yeah.
Not how Kickstarter works, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're looking to put out a campaign, don't be fooled like us dullards. So you have to be a lot more you have to be a lot more involved.
Yeah.
And God love Aaron, he picked up a lot of the my slack
Hmm.
on that end. So, and I don't even want to say that's bad, because I used to be a really angry person, and I've been trying in recent years to mostly try to put out good and positivity in the world. So I
Oh
don't
yeah.
necessarily,
Same
I don't,
here.
yeah, I mean, that's important, especially right now.
Hmm.
And so I don't want to say it was bad, because I don't think there was a bad part necessarily, but
Hmm.
the least comfortable part,
Well said.
it's like the colonoscopy
Mhm.
of
Yeah.
this experience.
Yeah, cause
You got to
a
do
lot of
it.
people,
It's
go
beneficial.
into it. Yeah, they go into it thinking, this is. I already got the comic book done. This is gonna be easy, and then they get there, and it's like, what?
Yeah,
what?
it's not.
What's
It's
all
not.
this now? Yeah, no, it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
It definitely is. And
We're a
Kickstarter,
cautionary tale, and I hope somebody who's listening to you will benefit from our stupidity.
yeah. research, research, and research.
Yeah,
Learn this. Figure Kickstarter out before you decide
yeah,
to even prepare to launch. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like get all your ducks in a row,
Uh-huh.
because it's just a learning curve, because you also want to make sure your project succeeds. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So I think that's a lot to it too. Like, oh my god, like what else do I offer besides this book to make
yeah,
sure I could reach my goal, whether it's $200 or $2,000. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
you always want to, be on the plus side of that. And it's just
absolutely.
it could just drive you insane sometimes. Me, I just dwell on shit.
Oh, yeah. I
And
mean, both Aaron and I too. And so that's why it's kind of funny that I mean, I think Aaron did do some research, well, a lot more than I did before we started. So just full disclosure, I have an 18-month-old, so I don't have a lot of time to do anything.
hmm.
But I think it still felt a lot like we did a jump first, find a soft landing later
Yeah,
with
yep,
Kickstarter.
yep, yeah.
And
That's exactly what it was.
so now we're healing from our broken ankles and whatever
Hmm.
ribs and whatever else.
Yeah, yeah.
But we're
You
mostly
didn't
past.
die. You didn't die. You
We
jumped.
didn't die.
You
That's
didn't
right.
die. You hurt a
We're
little bit, but
kind of
you're still
soft-ish
alive.
landing. So we're mostly, I think, past that part. But again, that was necessary, and Joey was such a huge help with all of that. That kid is a mensch, and we appreciate all of his guidance. So yeah, we had help, and I think again, I think something you learn maybe later in life, later than you should, like I did. But asking for help isn't a weakness; it's a good thing. We all need help sometimes.
Oh yeah. So how was the collaborative process with you and Aaron working on this together? Because a lot of times it's either you know a writer hiring artists, or vice versa. I don't it's not often where you've got multiple people working on a project like together on it. Like we're
Yeah.
in, or this is our kind of project. How was that collaboration with you guys?
I mean, mostly we just scream at each other in Discord, uh, really terrible emojis. No, so again, we were lucky that Tony was a mutual friend of ours, and
Yeah.
and kind of put us together. So when you're first working with somebody new, I think there's always that sort of tentative butt sniffing phase where you're kind of thinking, how much am I supposed to put forth of myself? How is this going? Because I don't know if they're more introverted, extroverted, and I'm definitely
Yeah.
more introverted. But we found very quickly that our collaborative style was easily it would easily mesh.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think we have a lot of the same ideas about what a collaboration looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, while there are defined roles, we all kind of have our hands at every step, and that could seem kind of micromanagey or
Mm-hmm.
overbearing, but really what it is I just think we all kind of want to make it, like I said earlier, the best product that we
Yeah.
possibly can. And to do that, you need multiple opinions. And we also
Yeah.
should have mentioned this sooner. We also have an amazing editor, Veronica Howell. So
Nice.
having that on board is also kind of key because she can keep people in line. She can, also be the another much needed
Mm-hmm.
and kind of wise voice to add to that conversation. So and like that was always the spirit from day one was like this is all of our project.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Ralph kind of looks at it maybe more as a freelance project than Aaron and I do, which is why we call it each other the co-creators. But
Mm-hmm.
for my money, he's just as much a part of the creator team as we are because again, without his colors, it wouldn't be
Yeah.
the same project. It's like casting in a movie or finding locations
Mm-hmm.
or whatever it is. If you miss it by just an inch, it's
It'll throw
not.
everything off. It's not gonna be the same.
Yeah, you're
Mm-hmm.
in like a nosedive. So finding art was huge, or finding Ralph to complement the art
Mm-hmm.
was such a huge sort of feather in not a feather in the cap because he's more important than that, but you know what I mean, like the sort of glue that we needed.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it seems like his coloring definitely complements what you guys put together. It definitely does. Like, I've come across some comics that they're just black and white, and it's like this makes a lot more. This looks a lot better than if it was in color.
Yeah,
Sometimes color takes away
absolutely.
from a project, even if it's too colorful. Like sometimes just going a whole different route is great, and it seems like he definitely he nailed it. I mean, my opinion,
No, we
and
did.
it looks like he's doing a great job. Absolutely.
It's our opinion too, honestly. Yeah, but there is this weird sort of aversion in North America specifically to black and white comics. Like we're
Hmm.
so overstimulated we can't calm our minds long enough to just take in black and white images. We still need the
Hmm.
overstimuli to
Yeah.
draw us to it like a moth. But it says a lot about us, I think.
Hmm.
Um, but because like anywhere else in the world where comics are a big storytelling format, which is plenty of countries. I mean, think of like manga. That's one of the bigger ones, and that's all black and white, maybe
All
gray
of it.
tones, but
Hmm.
black and white, and it's enjoyed everywhere. I mean, globally at
Yeah.
this point. But
It's
there's a
awesome.
reason for that because it's not necessarily about the color, and I'm getting way off topic now because with Ralph it is about the color, and so to pull myself back from the abyss a little bit. Um, yeah, what he adds to it is just phenomenal, and again, it helps open that up. I
Hmm.
think sort of visually to be pleasing
Yeah.
and I don't know, affable in
Hmm.
a way. If a page of comics can be affable,
But yeah, no, like I said, like it seems like the team you got together, you know, you've got a very solid team, man, and sometimes that's not easy to come by. It's
yeah,
really not. Sometimes you have people butting heads or whatever, but you guys look like y'all got a nice little harmony going on with your workflow, and that's what's up.
yeah,
That's
and
that's that's beautiful.
harmony is a perfect way to put it because I liken it to music and bands,
Yeah.
very, very often because you have, I think sort of the way that comics direct market views comics, the positions would kind of be the writers like the lead vocalist,
Hmm.
the artist is the lead guitarist,
Hmm.
so, as it were, and the letter and colorist are the rhythm section. But the most important part that people overlook in bands is the rhythm section
Yeah.
because that's the key to everything. And if they
Hmm.
aren't in sync and if they aren't in the
The whole
pocket,
song's
the
off.
whole song falls
Whole
apart.
song is off. Whole song is off. Especially the
So
drummer. If he's not keeping if he's not in tempo,
Yeah.
the singer's not in tempo,
No,
no one else. Everyone else is just all over the place. It's gonna
there's
sound like
such
a hot mess.
thankless positions, and
Hmm.
I think colorist and letter are right in there with that. But these guys are the unsung guys and gals and people are the unsung heroes of comics because
Oh yeah.
what they bring to it is
Hmm.
transcendent in a lot of
Yeah.
cases,
Yeah.
and might not be the project that it was otherwise. So
Hmm.
yeah, I
Oh yeah.
mean,
Because you could have great, you know, inks. Everything looks great in black and white, but if they're not nailing that color, it may not capture what you're trying to convey with your story.
yeah, exactly.
The color is everything. Sometimes,
Yeah,
whether
yeah,
you want there to be or lack of it. It helps. It helps with the flow of the story. It helps the readers. My opinion. I feel like I feel the story more. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like if it's full color and very so much pizzazz, it's just like it's too much for my eyes, or
yeah,
this kind of needs it, yeah, or less is more kind of deal. But it could
yeah.
make or break a story or your project.
For sure. And yeah, I
Hmm.
mean, I'm a big believer in less is more. I think, especially with cartooning,
Yeah.
I think the prime objective is to draw as little as possible. And I think I've gotten
Mm.
worse about that as I've gotten older. But that really is what it comes down to because the best cartoonists, in my opinion, are people who can draw, almost right above stick figures, and you still know what everything is. You have all the information that you need,
Yeah.
and everything still lands.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's I think something that I've just never. I was good about it, I think, earlier on, right, and then sort of as I've matured in my whatever drawing, I've gotten worse about it because then you just start wanting to have fun when you realize you can do certain things that you couldn't do before.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Especially now, once this campaign is done, and you jump on to the next one, you'll be more experienced, kind of
Yeah,
know how to flow with everything. You know what to expect. Like you already went through it, and the
yeah,
next one should be, you know, it should be easier to just flow with it.
yeah.
And I mean, speaking of which, like, what's next after 12 days when this wraps up? Like, and what else? When is the next one coming out? The next campaign?
That is a good question that I don't have an answer to. TBD. Definitely happening TBD
Hmm.
when it'll come out. But again, Sticks and Stones was meant to be sort of the,
Yeah.
the opening salvo or the whatever you want to
Hmm.
call it for this series. So it was
Yeah.
uh, a preamble to something else for sure. Um, I have a couple projects coming up. I was just notified that I got into another anthology or a different anthology than the Cloakroom, so I'll be working on that a little later.
Nice.
I believe Aaron and I are going to do another story for the Cloakroom later this year as well. Got a couple of graphic novel proposals in the works, and then yeah, a couple other projects going on too. So
Nice, nice,
going to
nice.
stay
And
busy.
yeah, it's all about staying busy,
Yeah,
especially when you're having fun, because it doesn't feel
that's it.
busy.
That's
It
it,
doesn't
man.
feel like you're busy. It just feels like I'm doing what I love. I could do this. Like I've been up since 6 a.m. Look, I got Monster going,
Yeah,
and because I love this. I'm not exhausted. Like I told you earlier, like don't I got nothing but time on my hands. We could, you
yeah.
know, we could do this podcast at 2 a.m. if that's what you want. I'll be up.
Yeah.
I'll be up, and I got 4 screens running, and I've got 10 things going because my brain is just it's out of it's. You would think I do coke at this point, how much energy I got going
But
on, but
that
no,
kind
I
of
don't. It's
inspiration that creativity can give you is just as powerful a stimulant, I
yeah.
think, at times
Oh,
because it does still
absolutely.
get the adrenaline going,
It's a
and
it's an addiction. Being
yeah, yeah.
creative. Oh yeah.
But it's
Oh
still
yeah.
something that's
Like
yeah. Sorry.
yeah. No, I mean, it's just for me. If I can't create something, whether it's a song or a book or a story or anything, I don't. I start to wonder what the hell I'm doing with myself. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
it gives me this joy, especially when I'm typing. I came up with a great story. Let me just start writing down everything. Click, click,
yeah,
clack on the computer. I could go for hours and just writing, and it's just like you're just in the zone. You're in the pocket. it's like 10 cups of coffee running through your system. You're not even thinking about being tired.
No,
It's a great feeling, and you're right. It's a crazy stimulant.
yeah. And it's, the finding the joy in it aspect was something that took me much longer than I care to admit to
Hmm.
actually, come by on this sort of creative path I'm on. Part of it is realizing that, when you get criticisms when you're younger, it feels very personal and it feels like
Yeah.
people are attacking you. And I think
Hmm.
as you continue on your path in your career, you start to realize that you just had more to learn. And sometimes those
Yeah.
people are right, and sometimes they're not. So it's also
Hmm.
about learning when to listen to
Yeah.
certain
Hmm.
people.
Yeah.
But
You gotta take it with a grain of salt.
yeah, but
Hmm.
and so art or any kind of creative endeavor should always kind of be you're learning and you're
Yeah.
progressing. And if you ever stop, for me, that would be a time that I would probably, quit doing it. Because if you're not
Yeah.
learning something, if you're not growing in it, like what's the point of art? Like you said, it's a part of you
Hmm.
and things that you have to get out. And every time you do, you get a little better at it.
Yeah.
So you learn something about yourself as a creator or as a writer, or musician, whatever it is.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. You get
so
to see how far you're willing to take something.
yeah, yeah,
Especially you know, it's one thing coming up with an idea, and it's
ideas
another
are a dime a
thing
dozen. Yeah,
going through with it, figuring it out, not knowing where, just starting from somewhere and just seeing it to completion. That's a whole other thing, because
yeah.
you'll get to see it is not as easy as you think it is. You
No,
know,
it's not easy to do it well. That's the thing.
yeah,
Ideas are a dime a dozen. Execution, good
yeah,
execution is the
yeah,
tough part, like you said.
yeah,
So
exactly.
that's something that you have to really make sure that
Hmm.
you're doing well and that you're figuring out. Because if you don't know how to land the plane, maybe you shouldn't be flying it in the first place.
For real,
Just
yeah.
advice. Uh,
That's 100. Yeah, that's act like. See, when I got into, well, when I decided to create comic books, I was, I don't know where the hell I was. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was so unfamiliar with the business. Like, I've always read comics growing up. In my teens and my young 20s, I kind of put it off a bit, focus on other things.
sure.
And as I got older, I got back into it, and then one day I just got into Facebook, and I found all the comic groups, and at that same time is kind of where I got the idea, because I kind of felt stuck creatively.
Yeah,
I've always wrote music, always. I've been doing this forever, and I just felt like I needed more as
sure.
far as being a creator. Like,
Yeah,
I've told you stories over sound. Can I write something that you want to read? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
and that's where I fell into comics, and then
Yeah.
I didn't know shit about putting a comic together, anything. I know how to write. That's all I knew. You
Yeah.
know,
But
and that
that's the
and
through line.
Google.
Yeah, you're a storyteller. That's the through line. And
Yeah.
so you're doing it in a different format, but it's
Hmm.
still storytelling.
It was hard, but I got to learn. I got to observe, and I also got to learn from a lot of the top retailers in the business. Like,
Hmm.
I got to me, hustling is hustling. Whether
Yeah,
you people say, oh, hustling, selling drugs, that's bad. I'm like, I don't mean selling drugs and selling comic books are the same damn thing.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
essentially.
People that read comic books, they love it. They're hooked. They want to read the next this and the next that. Like, they love comic books,
Collectors.
and they're gonna go to the person with the best comic books. You
I
know what
mean,
I'm saying? It's
collectors
hustle's
just
a
have a
hustle.
healthier, yeah. Collectors just have a healthier addiction. That's all.
Yeah. Exactly. It won't kill you. It make you
Well,
broke,
depending on who
but it
you're
won't
talking
kill
to.
you.
Yeah,
And I teach this to my kids.
yeah,
My kids are young adults. They are great artists in respect to what they're doing. And I tell them, this is what you want to do. You got to hustle.
yeah,
It's not and I don't mean it in a legal way. I mean it. You want it, go get it, go figure it out, and try to be the best one, serving it. You
yeah.
know,
I mean,
customers, fiends, they're the same person.
yeah, and
Because when you got the new, Batman dropping and like 39 million variants, you
yeah,
got people lining up. You got people lining up for Pokemon cards. You
Right.
got people lining up for this. You have the best work.
Yeah.
People are gonna get it. Look at your story. I've come across campaigns they didn't even make 70%. You know,
Mm.
great artwork, great everything.
Yeah.
You're 12 days out from completion, and you guys rocked it. You know what I'm saying? Because you got a good story. Everything was great. You got some good work. So they
And
coming to you. You
yeah, I
know.
think we're also lucky, in a lot of ways. I think that play, and that's, I know some people have pushed back when creative people talk about getting lucky as being an aspect of what's going on, because it somehow is reductive of the amount of work that you put
Hmm.
into it. But I don't think that's true, because what is it like? Opportunity is where preparedness and um, something meet. Of course, now I'm saying the quote and I don't remember it. But the whole idea is, luck. Luck is where
Yeah.
preparedness and opportunity meet. So
Hmm.
so the whole idea is you are working hard and you are putting
Yeah.
yourself in a position where that luck can happen. So it's
Hmm.
not necessarily that you don't have talent or you aren't good at what you do. But the reality is there's a million people who have talent and are good at what they do, and not all of
Yeah.
them get to have careers or make money. And
Yeah.
and that's not even, the one thing that I've really learned too is like, that's not even the important part, is the joy in it, like we've been talking about, because that's
Yeah.
the only thing that you're really guaranteed when you get
Hmm.
into any kind of creative avenue. You're not
Yeah.
entitled to people liking what you do. You're not
Hmm.
entitled to their money. You're not entitled to anything. So the only thing that's guaranteed is your own
Yeah.
love and joy
Yeah.
that you put into it. So that's,
Absolutely.
yeah, that I think is the like core objective.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Like when if one person picks up my comic book and says, "Man, I like this,"
Yeah,
I feel like I did something good because
yeah,
who I don't know this person. You know what I'm
exactly.
saying? This is a complete stranger that invested a couple of dollars on my book and was like, "Man, I really like this."
Yeah,
That's a great feeling. And like you said, you're gonna get criticism. People gonna love it. People gonna hate it. You know, you gotta take it with a grain of salt. Sometimes the criticism can help.
again.
Sometimes people are just being assholes. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
and
That's
typically it's
just the
a lot
world we in.
more, yeah, typically it's a lot more positive than negative too. So you
Hmm.
kind of learn to, sort of block out
Yeah,
the negative
absolutely.
comments.
And I think being a creator, you kind of gotta have a thick skin because
No, absolutely.
they unfortunately there are those people out there that just want to negative comment to be assholes. But one thing I've learned in this community, and this is why I do, I try to do the podcast and I try to do a lot. I love meeting and getting to know other creators because everyone is so far. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Has been very humble. You know what I'm saying? Great. You know what I'm saying? They great at what they do. Like it we have a great community, and I feel
yeah,
like we definitely build each other up because
yeah,
for ever since I came back into this, I've seen nothing but love, and I love it, and this is what I want to do, man. I want to shoot the shit with people and see what
yeah,
you got going on and read what you got going on or listen to what you're doing. I just love the creative community,
yeah,
not just comic books in general, but those that create.
yeah. Any kind
It's
of
it's
community
a
like
whole different soul, man, and I love
that.
it.
It is, and it's fair to say that we wouldn't be anywhere, wherever we might be at this point in our careers, we wouldn't be there without having found other people and
Yeah.
built that community, because it it's so important to find, because like you said, you're going to have plenty of people who want to tear you down and watch the world burn. Those
Mm-hmm.
people are aplenty. The
Yeah.
people that really matter and that you want to keep around are the ones that pick you up, dust you off, give you a little kiss on the forehead and tell you to keep going. Those
Yeah.
are the people you
Yeah.
want to keep around, and they're there, because
Mm-hmm.
there's more of them. They're just not as loud a lot of the times. It's
Exactly.
the vocal, minority.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
but there are so many people that, like, everybody that we've talked to, super approachable. The comms
Mm-hmm.
community is just full of creators who want to put out their love for this art
Oh
form,
yeah, and I
and
love it.
they want to help other people do that too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
I
it's
love
been
it.
a wonderful experience on our end as
Mm-hmm.
well. Like it sounds like it's been for you.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, I love to, I also love to get into people's journeys and to get
Yeah.
into where they got to, because it's not always easy. I've had some
No.
shitty things happen trying to get my first project off the ground and things like that, man. And I hope that when people listen to it, they kind of get an idea of what to expect, because it's hard.
It
It's
is.
not easy, because once you decide to take your creative aspect and make a couple dollars out of it, now you got to be a business person. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Or you
Yeah.
got to hire people, and at the end of the day, that all comes down to money. You
It
know what I'm
does, and
saying?
it
And
kind of changes the way that you interact with it sometimes too.
yeah,
I found that happening a little bit during this campaign, which was kind of distressing. Kind of worrying about the money aspect and the
yeah,
backers, and, producing things that they're going to want, the rewards tiers and things. So yeah, and for me, it's not the most enjoyable interaction, but it definitely changes the way you interact with the art. And you know,
hmm
I think I tend to just want to be on, focused on the creative side. But again,
yeah,
it was just complete ignorance on my part that I thought I'd be able to just kick back and draw the
Mhm.
damn thing as the campaign was going. Because
yeah.
again, kids, cautionary tale. That is not how Kickstarter works. You
Mhm.
will
and
get
and
beat down.
and I like to
Do it.
tell
It's
people too,
fun.
it's not about the fall, because you're gonna fall. You're gonna fall
Right.
plenty of times on this. It's
Oh
not
yeah.
about the fall. We all gonna fall. We're all gonna hit a wall. What happens next? What
Yeah.
happens when you? What do you do when you get up? Or if you decide to get up,
Well, the thing is,
when you dust your legs off, dust your knees off, what happens? Do you continue to make the same mistake, or you pivot and you grow and you learn?
no,
You
I think
know?
you surround yourself with people who care enough about you to be
Yeah.
honest with you and can confront when you've made the wrong pivot and maybe need
hmm
to sort of course correct, or
Yeah.
are there to tell you that what you're doing is great when everybody else is telling you what you're doing is garbage. So
hmm
that goes back to the community, and so for me it's always been about getting up and continuing the work, because
Yeah.
that's all you really have at the end of the day to show
hmm
for anything. So if I
Yeah.
allow that, and when you're younger, again, I think there's this sort of learning curve where that will put you on the ground for a while, and
hmm
you're out for
Oh
the
yeah.
count. And then as you grow that thick skin, as you continue to go, it becomes more about just continuing what you want to do and what you want to put out into the world. And yeah, like you said, sometimes there are comments that come off as very critical but are helpful.
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah.
often those have come from like editors or collaborators, not necessarily from social media comment section, because those people are just there with flamethrowers for no reason.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
they don't
Oh
try,
yeah. And
try not to
sometimes I
listen.
love it. Sometimes I love
It's
it
really
too.
weird when it's not
Like,
happening to you, I think.
yeah,
you know?
I've had a couple comments where I'm like, you really want to go out of your way to talk that much shit? Well,
Yeah.
thank you for the engagement, because that's what social media is about. It's about views and engagement.
Oh yeah.
If you've got 10,000 views and thousands of people engaging on it, that's where I guess the money is when it comes to
Yeah.
social media. So
Sure.
thank you for shitting on me and
Yeah, that's
making
the
it
thing.
public, for engaging, and because now people are gonna want to read the comments.
That's the thing is
So
haters
so
only help.
thank you.
Yeah, haters are only going to help you.
Yeah.
They think that they're really doing something, those keyboard
Oh yeah.
warriors. But the reality is, all they're doing is giving you,
Yeah.
amplifying, what you're doing.
Yeah. I
It-
feel if you got the 10 seconds of your life to reply on something someone did who's a complete stranger, you don't
yeah,
know them from a hole in a wall, and you're going to talk down on them, you are not a hater. You are actually, you love their shit that much
yeah,
that you can't accept that fact. Because you could just scroll right by it.
right.
You could scroll right by it and this is whack. I'm gonna. But the fact that you want to sit there and comment, come on, you know you love me.
They're obsessed. They're
You know
obsessed
you love me.
and they're unhappy, is what it is.
Yeah,
Because if you feel the need to go to a stranger and tell them why they're wrong or
yeah,
ugly or whatever the case may be, that's a you issue. That's
yeah,
not the person
hundred
that you're
percent.
commenting
Yep.
on. So that's I
Hmm.
try to keep that in mind as well, because anybody who's
Yeah.
going to do that is just not super happy
Hmm.
in their own life, and it doesn't really make any difference about how people are going to
Yeah.
feel about your work. If they're going to like it, they're going to like it regardless.
Exactly. And if you're that miserable, listen, weed is legal in a lot of states now. Go get an eighth, go get an edible.
It's helpful.
There's YouTube tutorials that'll teach you how to roll.
Start slow.
And just mellow out. Like, you need to relax. That's how I
Yeah.
see it. Just relax, because you're getting angry when you should just be happy.
Speaking of that, that's why you think of these kind of geopolitical times, these turbulent times, and you think, why are we still putting out art? Why are we still thinking about art? Why are we still making comedies? Because it can feel very frivolous or unhelpful at the very least. But the
Hmm.
reality is, it's needed more than ever
Yeah.
during those times.
Oh yeah.
So,
You
so
need an
for
escape from the crazy,
yeah,
from the
so
madness.
for Aaron and I, it's kind of finding this new avenue of like Jewish storytelling, and which is part of any kind of culture or ancestry. That's how
Hmm.
they pass down traditions and customs
Yeah.
and myths and whatever it is. So we're kind of taking part in that tradition a little bit, but also we're trying to do something that's fun and that
Exactly.
provides somebody with joy or laughter instead of intense, visceral anger
Hmm.
or fear, because
Yeah.
there's enough
If
of that.
if you can't have fun doing this,
Ain't worth it.
why are you doing it? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
yeah.
this isn't your job. This is
No,
something you trying to hopefully make it to be your end all be all. I mean, we kind of all want that at the end, but
sure.
at the end of the day, you could stop.
Yeah,
You could just you know go to work, be a spouse, and pay bills, and you don't have to do this. So if you're gonna do this angry, don't bother. You
yeah,
should have love. This is my escape. This is
yeah,
my escape from the madness. This is my escape from the mundane.
yeah.
I get into this creative flow, and then I don't. Whatever I'm stressing, whatever that's got me down, it's for that moment. For that, It's not even in the back of my head. It's gone.
Yeah,
It's
they're like
it's
they're like visors or blinders. It just tunes
Yeah. Like,
like
I'm just
oh,
so focused on this right now. I'm not focusing on that. I feel
yeah,
good. I feel great. And this is why I smoke, because when I get into that creative flow, my brain shuts off of all
hmm
the craziness, and I'm just focused.
yep,
Just focus on the task at hand. Like, oh, I'm gonna
yeah.
write this crazy story. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm gonna do this or do that, and that's why I do what I do.
I think it's hard to do that when I think we kind of talked about we're both a little bit obsessive in certain ways, and when you can shut that off even for
Yeah,
a short amount of time, it's so helpful
yeah,
and like
yeah.
reinvigorating, because that's exhausting too, to have that running through your mind all the time. And I don't think we give people enough credit in our everyday lives that we bump into that like might be
Hmm.
going through that too, and we
Yeah,
all just like have this short hair trigger fuse.
yeah, yeah. Especially now, I feel like, you know, I feel like a lot of people are more worked up now and
Yeah,
on a lot of short fuses than they were even 10 years ago. You
yeah,
know what I'm
I think
saying? Even
I think
10
that's
years ago.
and that's why again, I think putting out something funny and
Yeah.
positive is for us the way to go right now. And
Hmm.
hopefully with what's happened so far, other people are digging it too.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. And like I said, like, you looks like y'all guys got a nice little hit going on here,
Yeah,
and I can't wait. I can't wait to dig into. I can't wait to see what y'all got going on after, because like I said, and I can't say it more. Like, congratulations, man. You guys, your Kickstarter, all the success, man, and it's been awesome, and it's definitely been a great conversation. I feel like you and I got a lot in common, so
so
we're
too.
definitely gonna catch up. We definitely gonna catch up on a bunch of other things, man. But
Yeah,
yeah, man, before we wrap up, what I like to ask, guests sometimes, like, if like I said before, I hope people come across this and get some information, and how everyone goes through this path. their own way. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Everyone has they great stories and their horror stories, and I
Yeah.
like people to learn from this. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So, what advice would you give to a new creator starting out that's
Yeah.
trying to work on any kind of project? It doesn't even just have it's being a creative project, and what kind of advice would you have for them just working on this stuff and getting it out?
So, the advice that I typically would give, we already kind of touched on, which is the find the joy in it because that's the only thing that you're guaranteed out of it. So,
Yeah.
it's usually that advice. We already touched on it. But the other thing would be, oftentimes people will ask us how to get into making comics. And I think it's that same way in other artistic ventures as well, music, filmmaking, dance, whatever it is. The answer to that question is you do it. And I
Yeah.
think that's something that's lost in this sort of capitalist hellscape we live in, where it's like if
Hmm.
it's not in the pursuit of some sort of external success or financial success or whatever it is,
They
then
don't
it's
want to do
not
it.
worth it. But
Yeah.
the reality is the only way to get started in doing those things is to do them. So if you want
Yeah.
to make a comment or a comic, if you want to make music, if you want to make a film, this is an amazing time because you can do that with these stupid things.
Yeah.
You can do
Yeah.
whatever, like you don't need to save up thousands of dollars for a studio or
Hmm.
hundreds of thousands of dollars for a film or whatever it is. You can do those things now and start
Yeah.
small. The small storytelling is where you start because the epics, those come later. If you try to do
Hmm.
those first, they're going to be awful. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm trying to just be.
It's the truth. Yeah. Hmm. You got
It's,
to build up to that.
yeah,
You got to, like you
you gotta
said
let it come.
earlier,
Yeah,
you got to build up to that. You got to earn
you
that,
do.
and that comes with not just building your characters, but building your character,
Yeah,
building yourself.
you
You
got to
know,
cut your teeth and take your lumps, man.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
this
You
is
got
the
to,
only way to do it.
yeah. Because if you start off too strong, you're gonna get not the fall is gonna hurt.
Well, that's the
Fall's
thing.
gonna hurt.
You're not going to be able to do it is the thing, and you're going to get frustrated and think you're not any
Yeah,
good, and then quit,
yeah,
which is not necessarily true. You've just
yeah.
burdened yourself with this load that you can't carry right now. So
Yeah,
that's really more of what it's about.
yeah, absolutely, man. And I thank you for those words, man. And like I said, Alex, it's great having you on here. Definitely can't wait to see what else you got cooking.
Thanks, man.
I'm following the Kickstarter. I'm about to go back something. Like I said, I'm a sucker for art prints.
Yeah, got a couple.
but but yeah, man, thank you for joining us today. It's been a pleasure, and I'm gonna have the episode up shortly, and
Cool.
then I'll tag you and everything on it. I'll have your Kickstarter information on there as well. But once again, thank you for joining us
Yeah,
today,
thank you.
and
Thank
I
you.
wish you nothing but success.
Thanks, man.
And I'm gonna be following your movement 100%. All right,
Appreciate you,
on
Ted.
that note, and we are out of here. Show that was another dope episode, which you already know how we do here. You know what I'm saying? Make sure y'all get on that Sticks and Stones, man. It's dope. Check out the Kickstarter for Chaos Theory issue 3, man. You already know how that goes. It's fire. I'm trying to get these podcasts pumped out a little more. It's been a little busy, with handling the music side of things. I got shows lined up. Trying to do everything at one time is pretty difficult. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, make sure y'all follow all the social media platforms. Follow the website, villainarchives.com. Check out the merch, the shadowrack.shop. You already know we got that fuego on there. But once again, it's your boy Mal, the Mout. Bang, bang.